the birth of my first. Honestly, the most exciting supernatural thing about it is how I found out I was pregnant. So me and my husband, we had just come from our trip from around the world, a mission trip. We had went to a couple different countries, and they had talked about babies, but we were like, I don't know about that. And as my husband went to go spend time with the Lord in the chapel, in prayer, in worship, in intimacy with the Lord, he came back from that time and he told me, babe, the Lord told me that we're going to have children and they'll be a blessing to us. And I said, soon? He said, I think so. And that same week or the next week, it was 9 years ago, so my timeline might be a little off, but I had been working out at the gym with my friend. And when we came back, she said, the Lord has given me a word for you that you need to write down a list of wants in faith of what you're believing the Lord for, specifically wants, which is significant because I usually wouldn't ask for what I want. That weekend, I took some time to talk to the Lord and pray with him. And I made this list and I said, all right, Lord, here's my list. This is my faith declaration. This is what I'm believing you for. And I just felt like he said, aren't you forgetting something? I looked at it again. I said, no. Are you sure? He responded and I looked again and I said, no, there's nothing else. And I just heard him say, you didn't put a baby on there. I said, a baby? A baby? I don't know what to do with the baby. Like, I don't even know if I could be a good mother. And like, can our marriage even survive a baby? I heard people get bad marriages once they have a baby. And like, we're supposed to be missionaries. How are we supposed to spread the gospel around the world with a baby? Like, and financially, are we even prepared for that? Like, I don't even know if we can do this. And he just like reassured me, like, what if I told you you're still going to be missionaries? You're going to be a good wife still. Your marriage is going to be just fine. You're going to be a good mother and all the finances and everything will be taken care of. And I was just like, I mean, if everything's taken care of and there's nothing to worry about, like, yeah, actually, I do want a baby if I don't have anything to worry about. And he's just like, then write it on the list. So I wrote baby on the list. And 3 weeks later, the very next period I got pregnant. And it just so happened to be shortly after my anniversary. So anyways, that was exciting. It was exciting to know that I was going to be a mother. It was exciting to announce it to everyone. It was not exciting because I got attacked with HG, hyperemesis guatavarium. It's an extreme, rare morning sickness, but to the umpth degree. Like, I couldn't handle the smell of an oven. I couldn't handle the smell of a stove, the smell of a store, the smell of a restaurant, not just at the morning, at any time. Without meds, I would always end up in the hospital, and I was throwing up all day long, about 5 times a day. I couldn't even drink water without throwing up. And this lasted all the way until I was 7 months pregnant when the Lord supernaturally healed me. And I was just being, ugh. And my husband was just like, you got to be slow to anger and quick to forgive and slow to get angry and walk in love. The Bible doesn't say walk in love except when you're pregnant. And I was just like, is that true? Like, do I have to walk in love here? As terrible and miserable and crummy as I feel, like I need to walk in love. And I just feel like the Holy Spirit's like, yeah, my word is true here. My command is true here. And I'm like, oh my goodness. How can I possibly love here? And the world told me I can have attitude. The world told me I can be mean when I'm pregnant. It's fine. And the Lord's just like, the world lied. And I was like, my goodness. So anyways, I'm just walking through this journey and like getting these revelations. And we had this gathering and we stayed up late and we ate a lot of sugar. And the very next day I had my gestational diabetes test. It was my first time. I didn't know. And so I failed the test. They're like, you have gestational diabetes according to the test. And I was like, no, that can't be right. Like, I was stupid. I ate donuts last night. I ate junk I shouldn't have eaten. Like, that can't be right. And they're like, okay, we're going to let you take up the longer test and see. And I was leaving that appointment and I just said, no, like, no more sickness. I'm done. I'm tired of being sick. I'm tired of dealing with all this. No. I feel like the Lord said, finally. And I was like, finally? What do you mean, finally? And he's like, finally, I've been waiting for the moment that you would stop letting the devil have his way with you. And I'm paraphrasing. And I thought, what? You're waiting for me? Like, I've been praying this whole time, like, God, please heal me. Please heal me. Please heal me. Feeling sick and sick and sick. Meanwhile, I lost 35 pounds. 35 pounds while pregnant. And that boy was still 8 pounds at birth. So I just was thinking about that, and I'm on my way to Bible study, and I get to Bible study, and then I don't remember what it was about. I just know I went to the altar call that night, and I thought about James, the book of the Bible, and I just confessed my sins. I didn't really know if I had any, but I was just like, I need to be healed. And the man prays for me, one of my brothers in Christ, he prays for me, and I just feel challenged, like, are you healed or not? And I was like, and I thought, Lord, like, are you healed or not? And I was like, man, Lord, because I have these pills I took every single night before I went to bed to help me throw up less. I still threw up. I still felt sick, but at least I didn't end up in the hospital. And sometimes I could start to eat, especially now being in the 3rd trimester. But the Lord was like, are you healed or not? And I was like, And it's like, if you're healed, you don't need that medicine. And I was like, And so I was like, okay, well, if I'm not going to take this medicine, I better flush it down the toilet. Because if I throw it in the trash, I might be tempted to take it out. If I keep the pills in the bottle, I might be tempted to take it out. But if I flush it down the toilet, like, there's no plan B. I am burning my bridges here. And so that's what I did. I flushed it down the toilet, and I was like, all right. And I didn't feel any different. Like, I didn't feel like something happened. I just believed in my heart that I was healed. And then I had a word from the Lord, and I just went with it. And I was like, oh, goodness, what am I doing? And so I went to bed, and I made it the whole night without throwing up, which if I didn't take my medicine, I would have woke up throwing up in the middle of the night. But I didn't. And I threw up like once or twice more in that week, like within a week's time. And then I never threw up again. And, I had surrendered my womb. And so people were asking, like, okay, you surrendered your womb to the Lord and you got pregnant, and it's been this terrible, like, hard pregnancy. Do you still surrender your womb? And I said, man, it'll be really, really hard. And it's going to take a lot more faith now to surrender to him. But I'm going to still surrender my womb. And I'm praying I never have this again. Needless to say, I took the gestational diabetes test the second time, and I was clear. Hallelujah. And I was free from HG. So I ate. And I was like, I never want to go on another diet again in my life. And I've pretty much been true to not go on diets ever since. And that was almost 9 years ago. I did gain my weight back and some more in just a couple months. I was believing for a pain-free birth, pain-free labor, not based off anything to do with scripture, but simply because I just saw God's character. I was like, man, if you would send your one and only son to die for us and you love us, like, what's a pain-free birth? What's a pain-free labor? Like, this is going to be a piece of cake. Meanwhile, I was also tempted and afraid at the same time of what it would be like to push a baby out. Basically, they're like, your water's low. It's at a level 4. And this doesn't look good. You're already fully at the end of your pregnancy. You've completed your 9 months. You should go ahead and get Pitocin and get induced. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And like, it's not wise. I was like, I don't care. Give me the papers. I'll sign it. I signed it. I left the hospital. And I was like, what in the world do I do? Like, I'm supposed to have a home birth. I'm supposed to be with my midwife. I called my midwife, and she was like, she didn't say anything to me at that moment, but I called my mom. And she was like, you just want to be safe. You want to do what's best for you and your baby. And I was like, okay. So then I went back to the hospital. I checked back in, and I was like, man, I really don't want to do this. And then my midwife said something like, oh, you can just drink a whole bunch of fluids and we'll check on you tomorrow, which I found out is true. Now that I've been pregnant 6 times, I have totally seen my water go from too low to too high to somewhere in the middle. And actually 4 is not low. It's just the lowest normal. Between 4 and 20 is a normal reading, which I heard from the sonographers as I've researched going forward and asked them what's normal. Anyways, so I didn't know that at the time. And my midwife's talking to my midwife at the hospital, and the lady at the hospital is yelling at my midwife at the birth center, and it was just really stressful, a lot of yelling, fighting, arguing, and I'm just like, what in the world's going on? What do I do? Feeling stressed, feeling tired, feeling like I don't want to deal with this. Just what's the easiest thing I can do? But my midwife was my way of escape. When she told me, you can actually go home and drink water, but then the hospital was like, that's stupid, and name calling, all this stuff. All right, so basically there was a lot of stuff going on. When I came into the hospital, a lot of stuff going on in my body. I went ahead and got induced. I had a lot of pressure, and I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know to acknowledge the Lord. I heard it, but I didn't get it. So I acknowledged people, and the loudest voice said, get induced. So I got induced, and when they checked and checked and checked, I'd only been 3 centimeters dilated, and my water hadn't broke. And then they upped the Pitocin, and they broke my water. I'm not remembering the exact order, but she went ahead, put her hand in there. She said a lot of rude things to me. It was very disrespectful. I forgive her. And then she broke my water, and they gave me more Pitocin. It was just my second dose. And after I had the second dose of Pitocin, my son did not like it. I saw on the monitor his heart went from 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, all the way down to 20. Meanwhile, I had a contraction that just kept going, and it didn't stop, which is a sign of distress, I've learned. And they rushed me to the OR. I had an emergency C-section. I woke up, and I guess I was hitting and swinging because I was very polite and very kind, but on the inside I was very angry. And so I guess, I've never been high or drunk before outside of that moment. So I guess my feelings came out. My flesh was speaking loud, and I started swinging and hitting. So then they double sedated me. And when I woke up, my son was right there nursing, but I couldn't talk. I was talking like this, and I couldn't see. It was blurry. Like my vision was not there at all. I could just see his outline. I could see the light, but I couldn't see details at all. And I just said, why am I talking like this? And what's going on? And is this our son? And does he love us? And does he know that we love him? And my husband was like, yes, 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 it's our son. He knows that we love him. He loves us. He's good. And I just nursed him. And then about 4 hours or so later, like my vision came back. Like this was 4 hours after he was born that I finally met him. And then my vision came back, a few hours after that. And I just looked at him, and I was like, you're the reason I went through all this? You're so cute. I want to have 20 more. Oh, I loved him. His pregnancy was terrible, but postpartum with him was wonderful. Heaven, I literally felt heaven invade that room and flood the room, and the presence of God like I've never felt before. Like it was just blissful. Like all the suffering I went through, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I just loved him, and I was so glad to be his mother. My goodness, the Lord helped me overcome it. And from that moment forward, I realized every time you have a kid in the Lord, focused on the Lord and leaning into and seeking the Lord, you grow deeper in humility. You grow deeper in love. And you have an understanding of his love like you never had before. When I saw him, my one and only son, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life, meant more to me than it had ever meant in my entire life. And everything beautiful was more beautiful than I ever thought it was, and everything ugly was terribly ugly. And all I wanted to do was just protect this child and love him and serve him for the rest of my life. So here he is. Come here. This is my firstborn. He is 8 years old. Despite all the struggle I went through with him, it was worth it. I absolutely love him. He is a blessing and a wonderful big brother to all 5 of his siblings. Can you say hello?
Hi.
Beautiful smile. He is smart, he's strong, he's a child of God, and he's an absolute blessing.
Hi. I'd just like to tell you a little bit about God. So, God is loving. He loves everyone. And He cares about everyone. And He is sad when we don't listen to Him. So you should always listen to Him.
I say bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.